When things go wrong as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile but you have to sigh, when care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must but do not ever quit. Success is a failure turned inside out. Let's talk and clear the clouds of doubt.
We constantly hear about peer pressure, but what about cultural pressure? That's right. What comes first? Our identity as perhaps Americans, Egyptians, Bosnians, or our identity as Muslims? I believe this is an interesting topic and something that we all experience on a daily basis. We hear, like I said, about peer pressure, but what about culture pressure? What do we do, for example, when our culture seemingly contradicts with our religion of Islam? What do we do? What do we do? This is a contradiction, a complicated factor that we all experience. So let's talk about it. And I believe this is a great topic, especially for the youth throughout the world, because as we say, perhaps the culture is even stronger in the so-called Muslim populated countries. We can't take for granted that what we do in Muslim countries perhaps is part of our religion. Perhaps it is also part of our culture, and a part of our culture that contradicts our religion. So let's talk about it, and let's define clearly, what do we mean when we say culture, and what do we mean when we say religion? Is Islam just a religion, a relationship with the supernatural being, or does Islam also encompass a culture? Let's find out. To find out, we have some interesting studio audience guests as well as guests in the studio. My first guest is, you haven't seen him on Let's Talk in a while, so please give him a warm welcome back. He is a professor and lecturer of Islamic law at I believe, the oldest Islamic higher institute of higher learning dedicated to Islamic learning on the face of the earth, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, Al-Azhar University. And of course, I'm talking about Dr. Samir Sheikh. Assalamu alaikum, doctor. Thank you for joining us. Welcome back to Let's Talk. It's been a while. Thank you for coming back.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. And you guys at home, we also have a very special guest as well. You've seen him on YouTube, a former Def Jam artist turned Muslim. And now he uses his God-given and beautiful voice to do what? To recite the Quran for everybody's benefit. So I hope you enjoy having him. Of course, check him out on YouTube. He has a documentary about from Def Jam to Deen, I believe. So you definitely want to check that out. Brother Omar Dunlap, all the way here from the United States. Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Did I get that right? From Def Jam to Deen, or what was it?
From Def Jam to Islam.
Even better, mashallah, great. Of course, you guys, thank you for joining me as well, the studio audience. I want to kick it off with you guys. I never include you guys enough, and you have a lot of valuable things to say. I want to start the program off really by, if you guys can tell me your name, where you're from, and mention one thing in your culture that you believe is problematic or is that contradicts the religion of Islam. We can start with anybody, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa
barakatuh.
My name is Mustafa. I'm a graduate of the Al-Azhar University. Actually, regarding the culture, I have maybe this can be problematic, but it's not about in my culture. It's not about the Egyptian culture. But sometimes I find people who come from other cultures, like from the West, someone like Brother Omar and Brother Hassan, they come from a different culture. They come from a Western culture. But I find that they are more practicing than some Muslims who come from Muslim countries. So, of course, I'm proud of my culture. My culture helps me to be more practicing. But I find it sometimes it's strange. Why are they from the West and they have a culture that does not help them to be more practicing? And they are indeed more practicing than the Muslims who belong to Muslim countries.
But do you think the matter has become confused a bit and has become overlap, or perhaps, and the doctor can explain later, inshallah, perhaps people born Muslims, and this is a great benefit by Allah, perhaps somehow it's taken for granted, perhaps, and it's not really, we do things without really knowing why we do them. Maybe perhaps that's a little bit why, but who knows? May Allah help us, all of us. You guys, go ahead. Oh, thank you, brother. Go ahead, brother.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Sadat. I am originally from Kosovo.
MashaAllah, excellent. May God bless all the Muslims all around the world, especially in Kosovo as well, because I love the Balkan region. Dr. Samir is very interesting in countries, the Balkan countries. Go ahead, brother.
No, I'm originally from Kosovo, but I live in Sweden.
Oh, excellent.
Came to Egypt 1 year ago to study Arabic. So I can talk about two cultures. And I can speak about the culture in Kosovo, the problems there, and in Sweden.
Go
a problem in Kosovo definitely is the handshaking. This is something very strange to them. When you become practicing Muslim, for them it's like you are a total, it's like you come from another planet. What happened with you? Yani? You have the same skin, you have the same face, but it's like someone else, they exchanged their brain. And what happened to you? So when you tell them, I cannot give you my hand, they tell you, you are like my son.
Yeah, right.
So you find this is a big problem over there. They have difficulties understanding this.
Yes, subhanAllah.
In Sweden, you have other problems, but maybe we can talk about that.
I think Sweden is a
on.
totally different case, isn't it? There's
Yeah.
many problems.
Maybe we should give
Oh, okay,
chance
go ahead.
to someone else to.
Okay, thank you,
themselves.
brother. Certainly, thank you. I appreciate it. Go ahead. Thank you, brother.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
My name is Ahmed Bassouna. I'm here from Egypt, and I have a problem, a social problem in my country here that contradict to my religion, ethics, which is the way of celebrating marriage. I find it a very big problem here in Egypt or in the Arabic countries, which when you want to celebrate your marriage, this is the first night or the first day in your marriage. You want to begin your marriage by obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and making good things, but you will find people talking to you as you are a crazy man. You're not praying a singer, you're not here to music in your first day and you're celebrating in your marriage. They speak to you as if you are a madman, and you must start fighting against them to win the battle and not doing such a bad thing in your first night, that you want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make your marriage a blessed one, and you want good children, and that's a very bad social habit in our community. Hoping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and hoping our doctor also to give us his advice. Beyond, what shall I do if I want to not to committing sins in this blessed night? What shall I do to my family?
Of course.
Thank you.
And let me just briefly say, brother, may Allah help all the brothers married to Egyptian women.
Allah.
I'm just joking. My wife is Egyptian. I love her very much. I'm just joking. Thank you, brother Akbar. I appreciate it. Go ahead, brother. Are you too shy? Oh, that's all right, brother. Okay. But let me just say, I know Brother Hassan all the way here from New York City, right? Originally from New York. And I guess you don't have to say much. I mean,
Omar can take care of it.
Okay, anyways, thank you, Brother Hassan, for being here. And please speak as much as you want when you have some comments. And I look forward to hearing it, inshallah. Excellent. And okay, go ahead, brother.
Assalamu alaikum wa
Alaikum
rahmatullahi
salam
wa
wa
barakatuh. My name is Hussam Ad-Din Alam, and with the aid of Allah the Almighty, I'm a senior student at the Faculty of Islamic Sharia and Law English.
So you're here with your professor?
He's my professor, yes, and I'm honored to be one of his students. And with the aid of Allah the Almighty, I'm the Secretary General now of the Islam Ambassadors Association at Al-Azhar University. Regarding the answer to your question, in principle, I find no contradiction whatsoever between Islam and my culture, especially in view of the fact that I'm Egyptian, and Alhamdulillah, Egypt is a predominantly Muslim country.
Great,
but as is the case, and as we know, Islam is perfect, but Muslims are not.
Exactly.
So it's very common, and it's very normal actually, to find that some people may do things that contradict with Islam. But I find that the truth of the matter is that when you explain to the people the reality of the situation, and you explain to them the ruling of Islam regarding this matter, which can be actually in contradictory with the teaching of Islam, they accept it, and it has to be explained to them in light of the prophetic teachings and the parameters of Islam, and they accept it. And all what we have to do is just to explain to people, because I do believe that the teachings of Islam do not contradict with the minds of the people and the inborn nature of any human being.
Yeah, well put, brother. That's a great point. No society is perfect. People are just people.
No.
So they make mistakes. All we can do is help each other and try to correct each other when we have that. So well put. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Yeah, most welcome.
And brother, if you would like to make a comment as well, you're more than welcome.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
My name is Ahmad. I'm here from Egypt. I graduated from the Languages and Translation Faculty from this Islamic Studies section.
MashaAllah.
Something.
If you could hold the mic, brother. I'm
Yes,
sorry. Go
okay.
ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
No, it's okay. Go
Something I wanted to I want to comment about the recent events here in Egypt.
ahead.
I call it the double standard. Here, when someone, when the sheikh or anyone go into the religious channel and says his opinion about something, even in the political events here,
Mm-hmm.
the others say, "Oh, he's talking about the religious in a in a religious program. Talking about politicals."
They don't like it, yeah.
Yes, in a religious program.
Yeah, I got you, yeah.
If he is this situation, if he says something is contradicted with their opinion,
Yeah.
so if he take if he talked about something agreed with their opinions, so the sheikh
Yeah,
said
he's good.
some
But if it contradicts him, he's bad.
yes,
Yeah,
the double standard, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that happens all over the world. And like I said, nobody's perfect. I agree with that, like you said. Yeah, if it contradicts what they want, then of course. Brother Omar, before I go to you, I want to ask Dr. Samir, please, Doctor, if you could really clarify for us, what do we mean by culture? What do we mean by Islam? Is there Islamic culture? Perhaps you can shed some light on this from an academic point of view so we know where to go in the episode, we know the parameters.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. First of all, if we say culture or civilization, we have to define that meaning or concept. So when I say culture, we mean a totality of many things: language, history, literature,
Sure.
and everything just like that, and even social effects.
Yeah.
All of that is totally called the culture.
Hey, Doctor, if I could just say, I did get it online, I got a definition. It says, culture is a totality of socially transmitted behavior patterns, beliefs, institutions, predominating attitudes that characterize a functioning group or organization. So like you said, Doctor, it's everything.
Exactly. So it's every element of that has its impact or effect on the culture and in the end, in the civilization itself. Actually, when we talk about the Islamic culture, we should know some important thing, that Islam came as a revolution against many evil things, superstitions, bad practices, bad social habits and customs. So it eradicated all of that in its way.
Okay.
We have to know, first of all, that we base our speech on some characteristics or some foundations of the Islamic culture. First of all is the unity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You find in the Islamic culture that there is something pertaining to everything and every aspect of life. This is the unity of Allah. So this is the first point, that is the creed. The creed of the unity of Allah is making in the Muslim life some sort of harmony, some sort of uniformity, and you find everything in legislation, in education, in social affairs, that this unity of God is penetrating, and it is giving the whole society as whole in one. A whole in one. So this is the unity of God. Actually, we are proud of that, because we are the only religion that is adopting the unity of God. Second thing is that Islam actually is the universal religion, and that universality, it embraces all kinds of human beings, and actually Islam came to meet the needs of all people, everywhere and everywhen. So I think that this generality and universality is a unique characteristic in Islam. You find that people are Muslims from everywhere in the world. You can find a Muslim in Southeast Asia, you can find a Muslim from Balkan countries.
Right, like the brother here. Yeah.
Yes, in Bosnia.
Africa,
you find,
Europe,
you find
America.
Africa, you find even from America. All of those people are, I mean, if I can say, they are melted,
Right.
in only one put. And they have the same concept about God. So this thing is very, very important, universality of the Islamic religion. And that will participate in making a special culture to Islam. Third of these things is actually the application of the principles of moralities. Actually, in Islam, Islam is keen to apply moralities in every domain of life, to apply moralities in legislation, to apply moralities in war and peace, to apply moralities in even day-to-day dealings with people, social affairs. So moralities is very important. But more than that, the Prophet, peace be upon him, briefed his mission in the saying that I have been missioned, or I have come to complete the beautiful moralities. So this is very important. Something very important also is that Islam is keen in all stages to acquire knowledge.
Right.
Acquiring knowledge whatsoever in every science, in every subject of life. This is a very, very clear characteristic, and it leads in the end actually to have scholars who are not differentiating very much between what is divine and what is worldly affairs. So the scholar, or the one who is acquiring knowledge in Islam, is acquiring divine knowledge, that is the religion itself, and it doesn't prevent that he acquires knowledge in science, in chemistry, and in every domain of life. So acquiring knowledge is actually a characteristic. Also, we do have something which is very important, and I claim that it is not in any other religion or any other ideology. That is religious tolerance.
And before you elaborate on it, Doctor, we're going to go to a short break and come back. I want to leave the viewers waiting for the explanation. You guys don't go anywhere. Stay tuned to Let's Talk.
Are you looking for a way to recharge your hearts, or to get you back on track in your obedience to Allah? Or maybe you're looking for a program to remind you of your duties to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Here on Living Hearts, we'll be working together as a nation, helping each other to remain firm in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Every Saturday, live on Huda TV, you will have a chance to learn your deen, and at the same time, listen to real life stories that will make your heart shake. Every believer needs a place to turn, and inshallah, we can all turn to Living Hearts.
Guys, thank you for staying tuned to Let's Talk, and of course it's on your favorite channel, Huda TV. We're talking about religion versus Islam. How does it work? Is there a contradiction there? Joined by Brother Omar Dunlap. Thank you for joining me, brother. I appreciate it. Of course, Dr. Thank you so much. Dr. Samir, in the previous episode, previous segment rather, we're talking about, you made some interesting points about how Islam has survived over many centuries and it flourishes in many different places among many different people because of its flexibility and the fact that it's built upon principles like La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, not some superficial principles that are limited to a certain group of people based on their race, their ethnicity, their language, stuff like that. You said really briefly before the break before I interrupted you, religious tolerance and how this is unique to Islam. This is a very interesting topic, a very controversial one. I would like you to explain it, inshallah.
Okay, actually, Islam didn't came to oppress people to embrace Islam, but it came to guide people to their true path, and everyone is free to embrace whatever he likes. Now, in the times of the prevailing of the Muslim governments and Muslim state, we found actually a top tolerance of adopting many religions in the Muslim society, and not only that, but maintaining their synagogues, their churches, and everything.
Complete freedom, and they enjoy to be ruled by them.
That's very essential in Islam, actually, and the Quran and the Sunnah recommends us to treat such people, in a way that is Islamic. That is, to offer them everything which is good, and to cooperate with them, and to consider them their citizen colleagues.
Right.
So actually, the tolerance in Islamic religion has not been preceded before. It is top tolerance, which I say it is not in any other religion or in any other system.
And it won't be repeated again. You said it hasn't been preceded, and it won't be repeated again, because only Islam can do this.
Yes, it is not preceded by the Islamic tolerance. Is not preceded by any other religion or any other system or state. That is only for Islam. Islam didn't come to oppress people, but to show them, if they keep on their concepts and beliefs, okay, that's okay, you are free, but we guide you to the true path. If you don't accept that, all right, you will be our best neighbor, your best colleague, best citizen, colleague, and so on and so forth. So I don't think. Look at that. The Muslim army, when they conquered the land in the early time of Islam, they never oppressed people to embrace Islam. They showed them Islam, explained to them everything about Islam, about monotheism, about these beautiful things in Islam, and left them. If you want to be a Muslim, that is okay, you are our brother. If you don't want to be Muslim, still we will treat you
with respect,
with respect and tolerance.
And Dr.
That's it.
Yeah, and we saw this in the Ottoman times, in the times of Islamic Spain, when the Jews and Christians were happy to be living amongst Muslims. And in fact, the Jews experienced problems and oppression when they lived among the Europeans. But that's a different story, different subject. Yeah. Brother Omar, Dr. Samir, you guys in the studio audience, I want you guys to check out this clip. It's from our friend Baba Ali talking about culture meeting Islam and how it works out. Stay tuned, pay attention, because I'm going to ask you guys about it when we get back. Inshallah, you guys at home, stay tuned, check out this quick clip from Baba Ali.
Many Muslims, when they come from overseas, they leave Islam back in their home country. I mean, they bring their traditions, they bring their culture, but their traditions have nothing to do with Islam. For example, the idea of a forced marriage where a woman gets married without her consent, Islam doesn't allow that. Plus, it's totally messed up, man. Islam liberated people from this ignorant way of thinking. But some Muslims, they love their culture more than they love Islam. And that's why they're willing to compromise their religion for the sake of their culture. Joke! 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 Now, I'm not saying that all culture is bad. There's a lot of great things we can learn from different cultures. There's tasty food, beautiful artwork, rich languages, and so much more. I'm referring to the parts of the culture that conflict with Islam. You know, one of the things that confuses a non-Muslim? It's when they see a Muslim take part of Islam and part of their culture, put it all together, and label the whole thing Islam. Not only are you giving Islam a bad name, but you're confusing everybody. You see, if you add or subtract anything from Islam, it's not Islam anymore. And there's so many Muslims who try to customize Islam just so it meets their desires. Desires. Alhamdulillah, I found Islam before I met these type of Muslims. Alhamdulillah. As a convert, I can tell you that Islam is a very beautiful religion. This is why I feel bad for a child who grows up in a family where Islam is not given to him properly. You know who I'm talking about. The parents who purposely teach only parts of Islam, the parts that benefit them. The child grows up misunderstanding Islam because he sees his parents compromising it. You know what I'm talking about, man. How about the father who occasionally closes up his liquor store so he can go to Jummah prayers? Oh brother, it's not halal to have business open during Jummah. Oh, it's a liquor store. Your business isn't even halal. How about the mother who tells her daughter to put on hijab on the masjid stairs, but then tells her to take it off for the interview? What's up with that? This is why your kid grows up all confused. They can't tell the difference between what is culture and what is Islam.
That was our friend Baba Ali with some really insightful comments, especially towards the end there. That was really, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Brother Omar, if I could ask you, that's your friend actually, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what do you think about that clip?
I think Ali tends to, when he speaks, he tends to speak his heart. And he speaks the truth many times, and a lot of these things are coming from things that he experienced. Things that he personally experienced dealing with certain families and seeing certain things, and it kind of, like he said, he's a revert just like me, so it kind of throws you off a little bit. It confuses us in the beginning. Right. We're trying to find out what is Islam and what is something coming from a person's culture.
Right, excellent point.
So
brother,
it's very important.
Look, we're both from the United States. I know you, brother, I know that we all come from a strong background, even if we're reverts to Islam, a cultural background. I know African Americans have a strong cultural identity. I know music is a big part of that. Soul music, R&B music, rap music. It's like part of their life. Coming into Islam, you also perhaps we all have some kind of cultural baggage, I like to say, right? So how did that happen? How did that unfold in your personal life?
Well, for me now, it's very, I'm still at the stage in my life where I'm trying to master how to communicate properly to the people so they understand that these are my Islamic practices, this is my way of life, my new way of life, and I'm not going to compromise it to please the people. You understand? Because many times, for instance, I'll give you an example. Sometimes my family maybe they want to invite me to a Christmas party.
Okay.
Or they want to invite me, they may want to invite you to a Halloween party.
Right.
These are things these are in our American culture. Or there's many other things, but let's touch down on these things. I have to explain to them, or for instance, birthday parties. I have to explain to them, as for me, I can't be in those type of environments anymore. I try to explain it to them in the best manner. We talked about also, they touched down on shaking hands, like I was explaining, I was talking to you and the professor about this, that for me, I have to practice certain tricks.
Right.
Maybe walk with some books in my hand.
Yeah.
And then kindly explain to them, Islam doesn't shake the hands. Me as a man, I don't shake the hand with a woman out of respect for her. We honor women in Islam. I think if we explain it to them in a way that is kind and gentle, they can accept it. Because wallahi, I've spoken to older people that are in Britain, giving dawah. Me and my wife have been giving dawah on in an area, Hyde Park. And if I explain to a woman, I'm not able to shake her hand and explain to her why, many of them have said, I really respect that. Wow. Because if you especially explain to them the dangers of it and what it may lead to.
Right, sure.
Because women are, as the brother touched down on, the fitra of the people. When you explain to them Islam, the fitra can understand it. A woman can understand why a man is not supposed to shake her hand, because men try to play around with their hand.
Right.
When they shake their hand.
Yeah, you feel something for sure.
You understand?
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. Before the break, brother, you had recited Quran very beautifully in front of the professor. And I know you said before, previously you were a musician, okay? And when you became a musician, you told me many people said to you, brother, why did you leave your culture behind? Why did you leave everything? What did you do with your God-given talents? And what is your response to them?
One of my responses is I tell them that I use my voice to do what is pleasing to the Creator.
It's very nice.
I tell them I don't want to do something that is going to, especially with my voice, that is going to anger my Creator. And that's the reality. And many of them, they can understand that.
Yeah,
they can understand it.
Yeah. Actually, I have a comment on that. It is simply that if you trust that your practices of the Sunnah and what the Quran recommended us to do, if you trust that it is the best and the ideal ones, then it remains, something remains. That is, you are not feeling embarrassing when you do that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran said to the Prophet himself, look at that. كتاب أنزل إليك فلا يكن في صدرك حرج منه لتنذر به. We have revealed a book upon you, so you feel no embarrassing in your heart to convey it. Forget about all the old and evil traditions and guide people to the true path and the straight path. So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is recommending the Prophet himself, and of course the Prophet is a human being, and he was raised in that atmosphere and this environment, so he is, to some extent, he is embarrassed. He is embarrassed to tell people something against their traditions. But that's Islam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to you, convey it just the way like that, as long as you believe that this is the best and this is the nature of human beings.
Thank you for that.
Yes, that's it.
Thank you for that beautiful insight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I say maybe he would ask me this is why especially Islamic tradition or Islamic culture that you feel you are proud of. I feel proud of Islamic culture because it coincides with the nature of people, because it is the best. So look at that. When you shake hand a woman, and only when in the meeting, in the start of the meeting, you say, okay, we are people that never shake handed women. So this is it, and everyone will respect you and approve you according to your tradition and your custom. This is it.
Yeah, sure.
And we are proud of that because it is Islamic ones. Look, it's nothing. The people may listen to the hadith of the Prophet, peace be upon him, saying that your religion is your flesh and blood. Look at that. Dinuka dinuka lahmuka wa damuk. So if my religion is my blood and flesh, so what should I do in order to to confirm that, to state to people that this is it? You have to have determination to abide and to adhere to your custom, to your tradition, your culture. This is the Islamic culture.
Wonderful. Thank you for those beautiful insights. And I do find, Dr. and Brother Omar, in the studio audience, when you tell somebody in the Western world, perhaps, this is against my culture, they tend to respect it more. If you tell them it's against your religion, they feel somehow skeptical. But when you tell them it's part of my cultural practice, then they tend to accept it. But Brother Omar, I only keep mentioning that you're a singer because it's something beautiful. It's a great thing that now you're using your God-gifted, beautiful voice to do something beneficial and pleasing to Allah. That's why I like it so much. So, brother, if you could in this episode, if you're ready, if you would like to recite a couple verses from the Quran for us, that would be great. And I think the viewers at home, the non-Muslim viewers and the young Muslim youth, would see somebody who had perhaps the dunya in front of them, could sign a record deal with Def Jam, was living in Los Angeles, can live this life of a musician that many, many young people, Muslim youth perhaps, would love to leave. And then they see you in front of them, you've abandoned this, you have grown a beard, you are practicing the Sunnah, and this could be a great beneficial thing, inshallah. Do you think you can knock down a couple verses for us or no?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Awesome. Would you mind translating if I do a little bit? Huh? Yeah? أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا وهو العزيز الغفور الذي خلق 7 سماوات طباقا ما ترى في خلق الرحمن من تفاوت فارجع البصر هل ترى من فطور.
May Allah bless you, brother. Thank you so much. It's very beautiful. Thank you so much.
This is a beautiful chapter, as a matter of fact, and is talking about the Allah's glorification. So it starts with glorifying and praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, being the only one that has all the dominion, and He is able to do anything. And He created death and life in order to test us. خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا وهو العزيز الغفور, talking about the attributes, beautiful attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is, as being the powerful one, being the merciful one, all merciful. We say all merciful, not only merciful. And it goes on just like that. What the point actually referring back to the traditions and the cultures.
Dr. Samir, I'm sorry to interrupt
yes.
you. Do you think we could take a quick break and get back to the cultures and traditions, inshallah?
Yes. Sure,
okay, you guys will take a quick break. We're going to be right back here with Dr. Samir and Brother Omar. Stay tuned. All right, you guys were talking about culture versus deen. Welcome back to Let's Talk. We posted some stuff on Facebook. We're going to get to that just in a second. But before we do so, I promised the doctor if we can complete it. I didn't mean to interrupt you before the break, doctor. Please continue your thought, inshallah.
Well, that's just a small point about the way of Islam in eradicating the false and evil culture or false and evil traditions and the customs. So look at that. And you may ask yourself, or may ask scholars, how can I abide by my Islamic culture in a good way? Look at the way of Islam in planting everything good, and it's a gradual way. See, for example, the drinking wine. Drinking wine hasn't been removed once and for all. No, it isn't. It wasn't. Actually, the Quran first made it in even 4 stages, talking about that you have some blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You take it, you eat these fruits, you eat some fruits, and you make out of them intoxication. But this is a good thing, and this is an evil thing, and it kept it just like that. And in the second stage, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is only giving us يسألونك, they ask you, O Prophet, about drinking wine and gambling. Say to them, these are 2 things. They have benefits and they have evil and harms, but their harms are more than their good side. Yes. And after that, only said to the Muslim people not to start a prayer when they are drunk, only to understand and they can contemplate in what they are saying. Because if someone is drunk and he is spraying, he may come to glorify Allah and he is abusing Allah but without feeling. So look at that. That last thing, that is, okay, إنما الخمر والميسر والأنصاب والأزلام رجس من عمل الشيطان فاجتنبوه. Only ordered the Muslim people to avoid completely the wine. If he started to say to them, don't drink wine, they would say, no, we cannot avoid drinking wine. We cannot abandon drinking wine.
Right.
So this graduation actually can be applied on an individual, every individual by himself. Be gradual in your society, with yourself and with your society, and don't be harsh to people to say, this is my culture and I am proud of it. You are proud of it, but it comes with with kindness and with respect to people, and with the way of showing them that Islam has brought to us something which is good.
Something better to replace it, right?
But yes.
Right.
So we take these are two actually the examples that took place in the Jahiliyyah, that is the pre-Islamic time, about how people confronted the culture or the tradition of Islam. Not to drink wine, not to marry girls.
Many practices,
girls,
illicit
many,
sex,
many illicit sexual
women's rights in
intercourse
general, forced marriages,
yes,
burying the daughters, as you said.
All of that are bad habits and customs, and Islam came to gradually eradicate them very kindly. And that was actually this distinguished the mission of the Prophet Muhammad. All the other missions and other ideologies actually treated the illnesses in the community just once and for all, but this is not the way of Islam.
Gradual. Thank you, Doctor, so much. You guys, I want to actually hit on some Facebook comments that we had. We posted online here, if we can get those up on the screen, inshallah, shortly. We posted online, let me read it to you guys. As a Muslim youth, what kind of problems, what kind of problems come up in your life when your culture conflicts with your deen? Please share your thoughts. We have over 30 comments, mashallah, many comments. Thank you guys for sending those. A couple of them now. The first one is Sister Maria. She says, bending down to greet an elder person. This is common, I believe, in Nigeria. I've heard a lot of people call into the Ask Qud and say, we greet our elders out of respect by bowing down to them. Sister Esma Muhammad said, culture is dominant over deen in Pakistan. I've heard that also from Sheikh Shadi Suleiman, who studied in Pakistan. He said it's very, very dominant, the culture, over the deen in Pakistan, South Asia in general. Bashir bin Aliu says, a lot of innovations in Nigeria. Sana says, a lot of problems in our daily life, etc. A lot of great comments here. Manny Hood says, a Muslim's culture should never conflict with deen. It doesn't make sense to me because my culture is Islam. It's a different thing if I carry it out well or not. Another brother, Saleh Muhammad, my deen is my culture. And below that, a French brother or sister says, with 17 likes, by the way, looks like a French sister, I'm the only Muslim in my family wearing hijab and everyone is against hijab. A lot of Muslim girls don't do it here. So subhanAllah, it's a culture thing, I guess, perhaps, in France where they are against the hijab, and Allah knows best. We have another comment here from Salman, Innovations in Nigeria, Mubina. I think the main issue in my country is marriage when it comes to culture, etc. Brother Mahir, they tell you not to imitate others, be yourself, then they judge you instead. So anyways, there's a lot of great comments here. Keep sending them into our Facebook, you guys. It seems like this topic, culture versus deen, is an interesting one. I want to go to the studio audience, particularly the brother in the back. In the break, you had mentioned an interesting question you wanted to propose to the doctor regarding culture and how do we know what to take and what to leave from it. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, well, basically, it's more so on a global level. We can say with regards to the adoption of other cultures. You know, as we know that over the past decades, the media has had a very strong effect
If you could hold that mic up, Brother Hassan.
On the world.
Go ahead, yeah.
In the world, yes. Okay. The media has had a very strong effect all over the world. So the question is, of course, there's a positive effect, and there's positive effects, and there's negative effects. So the question is, like, what would be the advice that you would give to the Muslims in terms of like how to avoid the negative? Because as you said, that of course Islam, there's tolerance, you know. But what would be how could we avoid the negative effect or the negative adoption of negative culture, basically?
And real quick, if I could add to that as well, because I hear a lot of Muslims always bashing Western culture, but we can't say that. There's many, many, many great good things in Western culture. So we want to know, excellent point, brother, what do we take good? We want to take the good from them and then leave the bad. Before you answer, Doctor, if you could give the mic to the brother in the front, because you also had made a great comment about people...
Yes, actually, regarding this point, I find that the people in Muslim countries, I think they should be proud of their own culture and not to imitate other cultures, because they do not even succeed, as Brother Omar told me, they do not even succeed in imitating their culture. They try to imitate it, but they do not even succeed in this. So one day I was in a place here in Egypt called the Cultural Wheel, and those people, people believe that they are the educated and they know about the culture of the West. And actually they look strange, and the brother was, the guy was from the UK, and he told me those people look very strange. Like the people in my country do not do so. They are trying to imitate them, and they do not even succeed in this.
And so people don't respect you.
Yes.
They don't respect you. With say, for instance, a brother I know, they were in Jordan. He knows people that were in Jordan. When they go to certain people and they see them imitating them, they don't respect them.
Yes.
They don't see that they have their own identity.
Right. And they're not confident in it.
They're not confident in their own identity, as you mentioned.
Thank you, but that's an excellent point. They become more extremist, actually, when you imitate another culture. They become, I feel, liberal people in the Muslim countries. They imitate in the West, but they become actually more extremist than the liberals back home. But having said that, Doctor, if you could briefly comment on Brother Hassan's question.
Yes, and actually, I don't see a great difference between my deen and my culture, and that as some of your
comments there. That's
comments,
what they said.
My deen is my culture. But the most important point is that I see a common ground between the deen, the Islamic religion, and the culture itself. So I say to people, when you embrace Islam, you will not find a great difference. That is because Islam meets all the needs of people, whomsoever, in every time and every place. So if you adhere to the culture of Islam, actually you will not be far away of many of your elements of your own culture. I give you some examples about that. When Islam first came to Arabia, people were adopting some good customs and traditions, like, for example, generosity and bravery.
Right, excellent.
These customs, actually, Islam confirmed that and encouraged people to go on that. And actually, Islam in itself is a religion of divine attributes, heavenly attributes. And so, if there is any so good characteristic or so good tradition or custom, Islam is ready to absorb that, and it is in its essentials and basics. So we say that no great difference between what you are on according to your traditions and the culture and what is in Islam. But the point is that we have to amend, we have to change to the best. So that changing should be gradual and should be with kindness, should be with the understanding of the nature of the human kind. So you are changing some people from their what they used to do all the life. So, for example, for drinking wine or having illicit sexual relations and so on and so forth, we have to abide by Islam. Abiding by Islam necessitates that, oh no, these are against Islam. And with people, you are not ashamed, as we say in the first place. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be ashamed of applying your religion, because this is the best. I think that Islam in its culture is the best of cultures. So why should I be embarrassed to do that? Well, you can get into discussions and say your point of view very, very openly and bravely, you know, and this is it. So actually, if you want to make your culture dominate and be the culture of people all over the world, you can do that, and don't devalue your individual support to Islam. Don't devalue that. You should understand that in your effort, in your endeavor, that there is something good, and in the end that will come to the result of having the best culture in the world.
Thank you so much for those wonderful comments. I believe that's almost the end of the episode. I want to, before we have about a minute left, if I can get a comment from Brother Sadat from Kosovo, because I'm really interested, because of course, brother, you're from a European country, a Muslim country, by the grace of Allah. Do you feel like when you, as a practicing Muslim, you return to that country, that do you feel like now practicing Islam, you now have left your culture, or there's no conflict between being a Kosovar and being Muslim?
There is.
There is, in this case.
There is a big difference. First of all, my mother, she is not a Kosovo Albanian. She is a Serbian, from Serbia.
SubhanAllah.
She's a convert. My father, he's Albanian. So this, first of all, for me, this is a big problem, because I used to have friends, Serbian friends and Albanian friends. During the war, I had big problems. I was in the middle. My Albanian friends used to look strangely at me because, I was, my mother, she's from Serbia. And the Serbian friends, they were more, extreme in this case. They didn't spoke to me or anything. If I see, if I go back and think, about my family, because I have still family in Kosovo, when I, first time when I visited them, I remember, they were telling others that they were almost preparing how to accept me when I came, because afterwards I was laughing, because they were I don't know how they were thinking about me. Obviously they knew that I didn't shake hands anymore with women.
Right, in the end they will respect you.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
So alhamdulillah, and they ended up respecting, but there was a lot of dialogue between me and them, trying to explain, because for them it was pretty strange. How could I leave a lot of my culture?
Right, strange for them.
So there is a big difference.
Sometimes there can be. Excellent point, brother. I don't want to interrupt you, but the time is up. I want to get you guys in another episode soon. A very interesting story, Brother Sadat from Kosovo. I appreciate it. You guys, Dr. Samir, I certainly appreciate your time. Thank you for your insights and your thoughts. Brother Omar, thank you for your time as well. I look forward to you guys. You're always welcome to be on Let's Talk. I look forward to having you guys again. You guys at home, just be proud of your Islamic culture, as we learned from Dr. Samir. Islam is not just a relationship with the supernatural, it's a complete way of life which encompasses a whole culture, but you don't have to abandon your ethnic culture either. There can be a beautiful harmony between the two. Having said that, thank you for watching Let's Talk. I look forward to seeing you next time. So until then, I leave you in the care of Allah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're treading seems all uphill, when things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're treading seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the dips are high, and you want to smile but have to sigh, when care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but do not ever quit. Success is a failure turned inside out. Let's talk and clear the clouds of doubt. Success is a failure turned inside out. Let's talk.